NBA Draft Night is a chance for franchises to change the course of their future for the better. It should be an exciting time for front offices, but far too often organizations make catastrophic selections that derail their future and set them. Even with all the scouting, analyzing, video breakdown, and interviews available today, teams still manage to get it wrong. With that being said, let's take a look at the worst top 10 picks in NBA history. 10. Luke Jackson, Cleveland Cavaliers, 2004. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a mixture of great draft picks and some of the worst picks we've ever seen. The Cavs have been awful for the majority of their existence, and besides selecting LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, each with the number 1 pick, the franchise have chosen terribly in recent memory. One of those poor decisions was acquiring Luke Jackson in 2004 at 10th overall. It's puzzling why they chose Jackson in the first place, considering they drafted LeBron the year before and they played the same position. Jackson went on to play just 46 games in 2 seasons for the Cavs, before being traded to Boston and waived by the Celtics before the next season began. 9. Ed Obannon, New Jersey Nets, 1995. Coming in at number 9, we have Ed Obannon, who was taken by the old New Jersey Nets. To be fair to the Nets, Bannon was a phenomenal college player who led UCLA to their first national title in 20 years. Unfortunately for him, his body couldn't hold up to the more physical NBA, causing him to have knee issues that eventually spelled the end of his career. Bannon spent 2 short seasons at the Nets before being traded, and found himself out of the league by age 24. 8. Beau Kimball, Los Angeles Clippers, 1990. Beau Kimball led the nation in scoring before being selected by the Los Angeles Clippers in 1990. Another player with a great college showing, Kimball surprisingly struggled on the next level, averaging just 5.6 points per game. Considering he averaged 35.3 points in college, it was bizarre that none of his scoring prowess translated. Kimball went on to be traded to the New York Knicks just 2 seasons into his career, and feature in only 105 games in 3 seasons. 7. Bismack Biyombo, Sacramento Kings, 2011. The Sacramento Kings made a mistake in 2011 when they selected Bismack Biyombo with the 7th overall pick. Unlike previous names on this list, Biyombo survived in the league, but he's currently on one of the worst contracts in the association for the Charlotte Hornets. Biyombo had some nice moments when he played for the Toronto Raptors years later, but considering names such as Markieff Morris, Marcus Morris, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Nikola Mirotic, and Reggie Jackson were selected after him, his pick is frankly terrible. 6. Dahntay Wagner, Cleveland Cavaliers, 2002. Like we've established earlier, it's no surprise the Cavaliers are on this list again. Dahntay Wagner was taken in 2002 and failed to live up to the hype he received during his high school days. At that time, players could bypass college and enter the NBA straight from high school, but unlike LeBron James a year later, Wagner flopped in the pros. His 100-point high school game was a distant memory, as he averaged just 9.4 points in 4 seasons before health issues forced him out of the league. 5. Jonathan Bender, Indiana Pacers, 1995. Jonathan Bender was supposed to be a surefire hit when the Indiana Pacers selected him with the 5th pick in 1995. Bender put the world on notice after dropping 31 points in the McDonald's All-American game and entered the NBA with very few questions surrounding his future. Needless to say, it didn't turn out as planned, as his thin frame led to numerous injuries. At one stage, Bender missed 3 consecutive seasons due to injury and featured in 60 games just once during his 7-year career. 4. Eddie Curry, Chicago Bulls, 2001. Eddie Curry arrived in Chicago not long after the golden era of 6 championship rings. Unlike most draft busts, Curry could actually play, but his lack of work ethic ruined his career. After learning about a possible heart condition, the Bulls traded Curry to the New York Knicks, where he averaged 13.6 points and 6 rebounds a game in his first season, and 19.6 points and 7.1 rebounds in his second campaign. After that, however, Curry returned to his old ways and continually showed up to training camp overweight and disinterested in the following seasons. 3. Adam Morrison, Charlotte Hornets, 2006. Wasting a top 3 pick hurts, and that's exactly what the Charlotte Hornets did in 2006 when they selected Adam Morrison. Morrison had a nice outside shot, but never developed any other aspects of his game to have any sort of successful career. He averaged 11.8 points in his rookie season, but tore his ACL in a preseason game in 2007. He He went on to play just 3 more seasons, and considering the Hornets passed on players such as Rajon Rondo, Rudy Gay, Brandon Roy, Kyle Lowry, and JJ Redick, it's one of the worst picks in NBA history. 2. Darko Milicic, Detroit Pistons, 2003. The 2003 draft class is arguably the greatest class of all time, but it also included one of the worst decisions we have ever seen. Fast forward over a decade, and it's hard to imagine a front office passing on Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. But that's the unfortunate reality for the Pistons. Many wonder what the Pistons would have achieved if they drafted Melo, as he turned out to be one of the greatest natural scorers of all time. Milicic was touted as the next Dirk Nowitzki, but instead he averaged just 6 points and 2.9 rebounds, playing for 6 different teams in 10 seasons. Before we get to the worst NBA player drafted at the number 1 pick, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to be notified when we post our videos. 1. Kwame Brown, Washington Wizards, 2001. There are a couple of players that could have taken this position, but it's hard to go past Kwame Brown, who was taken by the Washington Wizards in 2001. Brown was the very first player selected straight from high school, and reportedly told Wizards' head coach, Doug Collins, "If you draft me, you'll never regret it." At the time, NBA icon Michael Jordan was the team president, and for all the incredible things Jordan did as a player, it amounted to nothing in the front office. Brown quickly became a laughable selection, and the Wizards took a step backwards in their progression. Brown ended up playing 12 seasons and averaged 6.6 points and 5.5 rebounds per night. Unfortunately for them, the Wizards could have had Pau Gasol, Tyson Chandler, Tony Parker, Joe Johnson, or Zach Randolph. Honorable mentions here are Sam Bowie, Anthony Bennett, and Greg Oden, but Kwame Brown takes the cake. Every season we hear about the very best players in the draft, but this is a list you won't see too often. Who do you think is the worst draft pick of all time? Let us know in the comments.